You are listening to The Underground Subway with host David Alston, a podcast dedicated to giving you the strategies to live a free and better life. Here is David Alston.
Hi, I'm David Alston, host of The Underground Subway, a podcast that is dedicated to one thing, and that is giving you the tools and strategies that you need to live a better and more successful life. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you've been through, or no matter what you may go through, there's always going to be hope. There's always going to be help available for you. And that's what this podcast is dedicated to doing, giving you all of the tools and strategies that you need to live a better life, not just for yourself, but for your entire family. One of the things that I love that Harriet Tubman she said that I always love and I always reference to is that the fact that she said, I could have freed a lot more slaves if only they knew that they were slaves. That meant that there were so many people living in bondage who thought that their life was just normal, that they were just going through a routine part of life, when in essence, they were in bondage. How many of us are living a life in which we are in bondage or in chains, and we don't know that there are things holding us back from living our best life? That's what this podcast is dedicated to doing, revealing to you all of the things that are holding you back and giving you an opportunity to release yourself. And so we bring you quality and qualified guests who will share with you their level of expertise and their experiences to help all of us to live a better life. I'm excited about my guest for this edition of the Underground Subway. Her name is Miss Stacie K. Roach, and Stacie K. Roach is the owner and founder of Stacie K's LLC, and she is a certified life coach, authorist, and podcast host. That she teaches us how to rebrand and rebuild our life after divorce, disaster, and or a tragedy. She collaborates with clients to help them to set goals and help map out their very own rebrand and rebuilding plan. All of us at some point in our lives need to rebrand and rebuild. I want to welcome to the Underground Subway, Stacie K. Roach. Thank you so much for joining us on the Underground Subway.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You know what? I'm so excited to be doing this interview and to be here with you guys, with your listeners. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you. We are as well. Thank you so much. Well, let's talk about it. Tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the bio, and tell us, what have you been doing and how you qualify to help us live a better life.
Okay, so I'll dive in deep and tell you a little bit about what I've been doing for the last 3 years now. It's coming up on 3 years in January of 2024. It'll be 3 years to be exact. But for the last few years, I've been living away from my sons. I've been traveling out on the road. At first, I was doing contracts. I was working with a merchandising company. And that was just the way I was to eat. That was paying the bills that I had, and that's what I've been doing, like on outside of life coaching. What makes me qualified to give advice and help people rebrand and rebuild their lives is my certification. Is me actually not even just the certification. I did go through certain courses and programs and training to become qualified, but my life experience going through divorce, being homeless, being broke, and not even I say broke, I mean a mindset, like my perception of life, just because of the experiences and the things I've been through, I let that really form and shape who I was. So my experiences qualify me more so than a certification, a piece of paper. I lived it. I walked it. I breathe it. I talk it. And that's everything I coach and I preach to overcome. And it's like I say, I love in the beginning when you're in your intro, you mentioned, becoming better. And that's what I do. And a lot of people, like you said, Harriet Tubman, she mentioned she could have freed a lot more slaves if they had known they were slaves. It's our mindset, it's our perspective, it's our overall perception of life. And just because we go through certain things and we deal with certain people and situations, so we start to feel like, okay, all people are this, or this set of people is that. And, and even with ourselves, we stop believing in ourselves and that we could actually do something different and be something different other than what we've experienced in our environment. So that's what I'm all about.
All right. I have a good friend that joined me on a podcast who is a pastor out of California, Noel Jones. And I was talking to him one day, and we were talking about the subject of divorce. And he said something so profound, and it wasn't from a pastoral perspective, but it was from a life perspective. And I want to share with you what he said and get your view on it. He said to me that divorce is the most difficult of things because, in essence, divorce is a person formally telling you that they don't want you to be a part of their life anymore. What do you feel about that?
That's his perspective. That's his opinion on it. I would say divorce was a new chapter for me. It was me walking into who I truly was. When I started to change myself on the inside, not just my looks on the outside, cosmetic wise, but when I started to choose better paths, making better decisions in my life and his life, my ex-husband, our lives started going separately. We started growing separately from each other. Like like I said, when you're married, you make a lot of decisions together. That's true. But a lot of decisions that we were making together wasn't the right decisions. They weren't the best for our sons, setting examples for our sons and even for ourselves, and living with it, in our truths. Neither one of us was living in our truth. We both was living a lie, and we got together and we lived that lie. We lived our separate lives separately, and then we came together and formed a lie to make it to the world that we are these people, and this is who we are. But it was a lie. So when I started to walk in the truth and start making better choices and decisions, I became a better person, but my life was heading in a different direction than his. So I decided to walk away. When I left, that's why I was broke. That's why I had nothing. I was working part-time. He was working full-time. He was a head chef at doing where he in the establishment that he's currently working in. And he was bringing in a good amount of money. So with my part-time income and his full-time income, we was living good. We had no problems, no issues. So I say, for me, divorce was me being me. I chose to be with me. So even though he didn't want to choose to be with himself, me walking away forced him to choose himself and start living his truth. Now, whether or not he decides to live in that truth or not, that's on him. I'm living in mine. We're better separated than we were together, in my opinion, because we forced something to be that wasn't. Right. I can't speak for anyone else's divorce. Right. And then you're telling a person you don't want them. I didn't tell him I didn't want them. I wanted to live this truth. We could have lived that truth together, but then that would have been me and him. He had to elevate and start living in that truth, his truth, along with my truth, and together. He wasn't ready to rise up to the occasion. So I said, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. And it just took us away from each other. So even though he can say he didn't choose himself, I've never anything. That's how it's hard for me to let people go. I hold on to people longer than I shouldn't hold on to them, because I value people more than I value things. That's how I was raised up. That's how who I am. So when I started choosing me and choosing to live in the truth, we could have did it together. I would not have ever said, let's not do this together. When he chose not to do that, it was his choice. So it left me being like, okay, what do I have to do? And my choice was, okay, let's divorce. Whether he wanted to own up to it and agree to it, a lot of us don't. It's taking accountability for ourselves in the marriage, and this is a partnership. And when we are no longer doing what's right and being our true selves, and first of all, you got to be good for yourself before you can be good for someone else. That's we wasn't even good for ourselves individually. Then we had kids. That's bringing kids up in chaos. Like, no, I just seen the road it was leading down. I'm a visionist. I visualize. I dream big. So I can see now the future. Like I can see things, and that's just who I am. So I didn't see that for me. I didn't see me continue living a lie and living our life based on, I wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. And we are where we are now.
You mentioned something that I love it. I really love it. But you mentioned something I want to just sort of talk about it before we really get into the other topics. You said that you changed cosmetically. Why do we, once we get the divorce, it seems like we change cosmetically to where we dress better, we take better care of ourselves. Why do we do that?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you said that, but let me rephrase that. I didn't say when I said I changed from the inside out, not just cosmetically. And I pointed that out for a reason because, like you said, some people do once they leave a person or once they stop doing it in a certain situation, they want to be better and do better and feel better and dress themselves up. But you can do that same thing with that same person.
That's
So
right.
that's another thing. I was ready to start eating better. We both smoked. So I was okay. I want to stop smoking. I want to it was things that I wanted to do that he wasn't ready to put down. We could have done it together. We did not have to
Right,
separate,
right,
even though we both was living. Like I said, we both had lives. Like when I say lives, not lives as in our life, I mean lives as in the truth or a lie. We
right.
were both living our set. Like I wasn't who I truly wanted to be before we got into that marriage. Neither was he. We was both settling to be with each other, coming together, and then we putting this picture's image up to the world like we're this and we wasn't. We were both lying.
Hmm. I was speaking
Habits
to a
behind me. Go
I
ahead.
was I was speaking to a coworker a little while ago, and we were discussing not this particular subject, but close to it, because the coworker was really going through some difficult times, and the verbiage that this coworker was using concerning the uh, ex-husband was very graphic, and I want you to talk about this for a minute because I said to the coworker, "Listen, you need to stop talking so badly about your ex-husband to and around the children because that's still their father."
Mm-hmm.
Do we do that? Is that something that we need to be more careful of?
We need to be careful how we speak about our exes around anyone because at
Right.
the end of the day, we chose those people.
Mm-hmm.
Those people now,
Right.
unless they force themselves in your lives and onto you, and then that's a whole nother topic. We're not talking about
Mm-hmm.
that. We're talking about you guys choosing each other, coming together, getting married, or deciding to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to watch how you like for a long time. I would bash, not for the last, not it was been years and years ago when me and my ex we would break up and get back together. I would bash and bash, but then I had to take a good look at it and like, okay, but I know who he is. I see these things, and it's up to me to acknowledge it or not, or act like I don't. But at the end of the day, I chose him. So if I'm talking this bad about him, how does that make me look? So
Mm-hmm.
then I started to self-reflect, like instead of projecting, I started looking within. That's why I said I changed more so within than I did on my cosmetics or the beauty or whatever, working out, none of that. Like I started changing how I viewed him and just things around me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I am where I am today.
That's so wonderful, and not in all cases. Not of course, we're not talking specifics, but generally, do you
Yeah,
notice a
in
lot of people?
general.
Do you notice a lot of people that when they do divorce, that's when they realize after a period of time away from that person, we're more friendly, and boy, this is the person I really wanted to be with anyway, but I needed this time away.
Sometimes because I don't net thank you right there. That's what I said. I don't agree with divorce. And in my especially on my father's side, we don't believe in divorce. You married to death. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't play around with divorce. We don't take it lightly. Y'all stick it through, y'all work together. Sometimes you do need to separate yourself sometimes to see what you truly want. But I feel like in those times you do need to keep in the back of your mind, you have a whole family right here. So if you can become a better version of yourself with that same person, because sometimes it's not always our spouse. Sometimes it's us, we the problem. So if you can become a better person with that person and they're willing to be a better person and y'all can come together and be better, like that's great. Sometimes you need to separate to realize that. So I do agree. So before in the state of South Carolina, you have to be legally separated for a year, living separately, two different households before they will grant you a divorce. So we had time within that year to see, okay, if this is what we're going to do, which at first he wasn't for trying to see if we can make it work. Because I did not, when I walked out, I didn't walk out to say, I don't want this man. I was planning on being back with it. Like that's my husband. Like I wanted to do this with him. So when he chose to go a different route, I was like, wow, okay. So like divorce was like the last thing. And no, my family for about a year, nobody knew I was even separated. I didn't tell anyone because that's not really what I wanted. I don't push that. I don't condone divorce. Be careful who you marry before you marry. Before you know what you got to know what you're getting yourself into. But I knew what I was getting myself into.
Right. Let me ask you this, Stacie. You
So
mentioned
I would wish we could have done it together.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You mentioned South Carolina. I'm currently in North Carolina. I'm in Raleigh, and I'm originally from Philadelphia. And my favorite movie is Philadelphia with Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. And in the movie, Denzel is an attorney, and he asks a witness a question on the stand, and then he follows the question up with, now explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Now, I want you to explain to me, like I'm a 6-year-old, what does this thing mean entitled? What does it mean to, I know what rebuild mean. What do you mean rebrand?
Okay.
Or can you,
Rebrand.
if you can separate the two?
Yes, you can separate
Okay.
the two. They are two different things. So rebranding, speaking to a 6-year-old, rebranding is, hey, I might have made a mistake, but I can change and I can do better. And I can like I've chose to do something poorly, and now I'm deciding to do something in the upright or in a different way. And I feel like when I say the right way for everyone is different. The right way for me may not be necessarily the right way for you. So I can rebrand myself. I can take all that dirt that I smear. I'm outside in the playground and I'm jumping and I'm getting my clothes dirty, but there's always a wash and a dryer. Like, why do we have to dwell on the past when we can just wash that dirt off and start? Today we can decide that I no longer have to make the same mistakes over and over and over. I can do better.
Wow. So how can what do you say to a person? What can I do? What is the first thing that I need to do? What's the first step that I need to take if I want to rebrand and rebuild?
Okay, the first step in rebranding is acknowledging that there is a problem, like you said. Just going back to the Harriet Tubman statement, she could have freed so many slaves if they would have known and accepted that they are enslaved. A lot of people, the life they're living right now is comfortable, is comfort and used to it. And this is what they normally see. Have you ever heard someone say, well, this is who I am? Okay, that's who you
Right,
had to be
right.
in that situation, in that time, in that period, but not it now. A lot of us, we no longer have to fight for scraps. We no longer have to try to cut your throat to get where we need to be. We don't have to play like that. So
Mm-hmm.
the first part is you got to own up to it. First of all, you know what you did wrong. You got accountability. That's when I say with divorce, you can point your finger and say my spouse is this and he's that. And he went, but at the same time you chose him. So then what does that say about you? Accountability.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Your part.
Why do you think that's so difficult for us to do, to own up?
You know what? It's been hard for me to get clients because people, that's their first thing. They don't think they got a problem. Like you think some
Really?
people, it's so hard because a lot of us do think we are perfect, and I'm one of them. I since I was a child, I had this big bold attitude, like I'm it, and I had to be humbled a few times and realize that okay, no, I even the best of us is gonna fall short. So calm down, humble yourself, relax, and
Wow.
that's been an issue for
Okay.
myself and people.
So now I feel like I'm in a private session now because I need to ask about me. I'm that person. I'm that person that's the opposite. I tend to hold it over I acknowledge my failures and my faults, and I hold it over my head to where I never forgive myself.
Okay. You know what? I've been not for a short period of time, especially during the divorce. I blame myself for the divorce because I brought it up. I started to question the route that I was living and the way I was living. So I held it over my head for a long time. But at the same, once again accountability. You did it. If you want people to forgive you, you have to forgive you, and you have to let it go. I'm not gonna say act like it never happened because you have to remember that lesson that it taught you. But forget about that. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about today, right now,
Mm-hmm.
here, because yesterday don't matter. I may not even be here tomorrow. So why are we talking about yesterday, the present? So sometimes you have to forgive yourself. And it's hard to forgive yourself, especially when other people's lives are in the balance of your mistake or whatever you've done. Or yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Wow.
But you got to know that it's okay. If you don't know that it's okay, anybody that you choose to be in your life, they're gonna always you're gonna feel like they're always pointing little your flaws and stuff out. But then that's just you
Mm-hmm.
projecting. When if you just stop talking about it, it'll go away. They will have nothing to talk about. It's like you never told them.
Well,
It's just that easy.
and that's amazing, Stacie. But here's my question now. Let's piggyback off of that. How important is it during, whether it's a divorce process or rebranding or rebuilding? Talk to us about how important it is to have a strong inner circle.
You know what? It's really extremely important because support, comfort, you can get comfort from your family, from your loved ones, from your support system, having that inner circle, people that you can vent to without them holding that over your head and pointing it out, unless they're trying to show you, okay, you don't want to go back down this route again. You see what happened and what
Mm-hmm.
could have been worse. So it's good to have a good support team. And right now, that's what I'm building for myself. I had to cut off during my divorce. Not only did I lose my husband, I lost people that I thought were my friends and family that I grew up with my entire life, that I thought we were going to always be there for we together. So now I'm building on a stable foundation where if I cannot trust you, we can't be honest with each other, whether I'm wrong or right, and we have each other's backs, I don't need you around me. And if you're all about money, I don't need you around me because at the end of the day, I'll sit with a bum on the street. We can have the best time. We have a great night. Like it just don't
Right.
matter. Like it's just like to me, it's I value people, and that's been my downfall too. Because so many times I hold on to people, and they be stabbing me in the back, they be hurting me, and then I'm really forgivable. I forgive people because I want to be forgiven. I don't
Right.
think you can
Right.
ask for forgiveness unless you're willing to forgive as well. So you certain things I'll let slide. Like I'll let
Mm-hmm.
stuff slide for years. And when people nowadays, if they ever you hear people talking bad about me now, it's because years, 5, 10, 13 years, I let people do certain stuff. And I just like, okay, cool. Until I was like, you know what? I exploded. That divorce was a big eye opener for me.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's really important to have a good, stable foundation, you guys, and choose your friends wisely. That's the truth. Choose them wisely.
So, as a coach, and I assume that you coach both male and females. Who do you think has the bigger struggle of maintaining a positive inner circle? Do you think men have a bigger struggle, or is it the ladies?
Women, because we're petty,
You
and
said
I'm
that so
saying we
fast.
because
You
I've
got
been petty.
Yeah. You
Women,
said that
us.
you said that fast. You got to go into
Yeah,
detail
because we
about
a
that.
lot of seriously, if a lot of times I hear women say I want a good man, but I've had since I've gone through my divorces, I ran across so many good men that I was damaged, I was hurt, and I was not ready for those men, and I wasn't ready to evolve. I know I can't be shaking my butt, and I can't be doing certain stuff if I'm gonna have expect to have a certain type of man or a certain type of person around me. We have to. It's not about well, that's who I am. Sometimes it's not. No, you don't have to be like that. And I mean, behind closed doors, do your thing, but out in public, and we let's be professional. And as
Right.
women, and as us, we don't want to accept that we are a lot the issue. Not all the time, because some men do have great women and they take advantage. It's vice versa. But I feel like if we start with us. If we start getting ourselves together and holding ourselves accountable and holding us to this standard we hold men, they have no choice but to rise up because we're not going. We're right here. I'm
Wow.
rising up. I'm standing within my power and my right, and I know my word. you have no choice but to know my worth too. So as soon as we started to degrading ourselves and just giving it up freely and for whatever reason, we started to degrade ourselves. We take our value away, and then we get upset that now we done got so many miles on us and we low value. Mm-hmm. Nobody want to deal with us. But whose fault is that? But you can always rebrand. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how old you are. You can always decide today, I don't want to do that no more. But you got to put all that. You got to choose better and put all that behind you. You can't dibble and dabble every blue moon. You got to let it go. A lot of us women, we don't want to let it go.
Is it important to have that best friend, that one person, or does that really matter?
My sons are my best friends, and I have 3 sons in 3 different ways. They are a part of me, and I trust them more than I trust anyone. So I don't know. I feel like growing up in my family, in my household, my grandfather and my grandparents, our siblings, our family members were our best friends. We didn't have a lot of outside people. We had strong family values, and that's what the whole Rebranding Rebuilding Community podcast is about. It's all about focusing on rebuilding and rebranding ourselves for our community, our family, especially the African American community. We need to do better. Wow. Even if we're separate, we're not with our spouses or our exes or whatever, we can still create a great environment for our children to thrive in, no matter where they are. We can do that.
Stacie, I was talking to someone recently about mental health issues, and we were discussing the fact that when a person is dealing with alcoholism and they may go through rehab or they're restored back and they go through rehabilitation, they often find a support group, and they'll go in a room and they'll sit around and they'll talk in the support group and they'll help one another. My name is David and I'm an alcoholic. Well, hey, David. And all of a sudden, we get the help. And we were talking about the fact that mental health issues could help having a support group. Do you think that people that have gone through divorce and traumatic relationships could benefit from having a support group? And if so, how difficult is it to find something like that?
You know what? I love that idea. You just gave me some ideas. Just ask me that question.
And it's free. It's free. I'm not even going to charge you for it.
we can have it online. We can start a Facebook group and we can just seriously mental health issues. But I feel like we're not here to enable each other. We're here to get each other and pick each other up and help we get back where we need to be. So as long as we don't get to bashing and staying and thinking that it's okay to be at that level and do those things, no matter what. Mental health, they say it traumatizes them, and then a lot of our relationships come from us. I'm sorry, it's the overall. It stems from love, whether we didn't get it from a parent, whether we didn't love ourselves, whether we feel like the world around us didn't love us, the environment didn't show us no love. I'm telling you, people. Unconditional love. That's why no matter what situation, how I deal with an individual, you cannot ever say I didn't show you unconditional love, because everybody deserves to have somebody just that care about them for them and that will listen to them for them and won't use them and won't prey on them and won't just, I don't need you for nothing. I'm just here to be around you just for your presence. So I really do think that'll be a great idea for mental health, having that support group. But at the same time, we're not here to enable each other. We're here to listen to one another. And because once you vent, because I'll listen to your story about 2-3 days, but after that, we shouldn't even be talking about the same story no more, because it no longer matters. Right. It's time for you now you can start writing your own story. How do you want to feel today?
Wow. Well, yeah, we've got to run with that. I mean,
I love to do that, right?
We just deal with it, because some people are like, I'm too embarrassed to even acknowledge that I went through it, or, I'm responsible, or I'm not responsible, or it happened because she did this or he did that. But I guess we need a support group to just say, I was wounded or I wasn't wounded. I'm okay. I just need someone to vent to, what have you.
And we need someone that's not gonna sugarcoat with us and is gonna tell us the truth. Because I'm not here to please you, and I'm not here to get you to like me. I want you to see the truth, what's in front of us. A lot, especially women, we have these blindfolders on, these colored glasses, and we dream a lot. I'm a woman. We fantasize. We got to put the fantasies and the illusions. We got to put that stuff behind us and see right what's in front of us right now. Like, and that's hard. And I'm a woman. It's hard. It's really hard to do. And we want to talk about it. That's probably want to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. But we don't know that the more we talk about this, the more we are attracting to ourselves.
That's
in
right.
Every relationship, every person, even our children is going to start trickling down. Where now we got issues with the kids, and now they not listening, and not like, come on, like
right.
It's dead. But
yes.
we are traumatized. A lot of us don't even know we traumatized.
Yeah.
And it clearly shows with the environment you choose to be in. It shows the type of jobs you work. It shows if you even work a job. It shows your actions, everything that you do. It shows if you love yourself and you love what you're doing and the people around you. It'll show.
Wow.
It'll show.
Well, Stacie, we're running out of time. There's an old adage that says time flies when you're having fun, and I'm definitely having fun. But before we go, can you tell us how our listeners can get in touch with you, or anything, any material that you have that we can reach out to you and obtain?
Yes, right now, I do have my website up and running. I do have some coaching courses and webinars going on. I have on sale, and I do also do free stuff as well. You will see on there. I have a app that right now. I'm actually in the middle of we're making some changes, but I have an app where you can. It's like a special support just for if you going for. It's mostly for young girls, young teens I'll say from like 16 to like 25. But like you said, going through depression, anxiety, little things you just might want to vent, just want a bit of advice, go to my website, www.staciekroach.com. You'll see the link for the app. You can go and download it. You can always text me, chat with me. That's for free. I do that for free, but that is just for women. That's not for men. But for anything else that I do, you can go to my website, like I said, www.staciekroach.com.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us on the Underground Subway. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Thank you.
And I'm going to, I don't know, you said that was for women. I'm going to get on there, and I may have to dress up like Medea so I can get a session.
No, because listen, and I don't want to exclude the men, because I stand for especially the black man, honey. If you see my social media, I'm all about the black man. I love the black man. But
right.
I do this for women because I am a woman and I can relate. I'm not a man.
Exactly.
My father is a great man. My uncles are, but I don't know what young boys go through in their teens and going through puberty. But I can speak to young women. Yes. That's why it's that way. And I'm not putting out. I know they have for trans women. This is not for them, and this is not excluding them or making it seem like I'm not pro-choice or whatever. This is for women this is for women.
I totally feel you. I don't know how to put it any other way. Yes, I totally feel you.
I love my community of people. I have nothing against you. This is for you were born this. You're dealing with certain things in your body that you got questions about. Because as a teen, I was going through things that my mother, she was out doing whatever she had to do to make sure we ate. And I understood that. I had to raise myself. I had things going on, changes in my body I didn't know about. And I had to start reading about. And that, I'm telling you, that's really what got me into books. That was my doing the research myself to know what's going on with me, and going to the doctors and asking my doctors, so I can relate to women. That's why it's for women.
Well, I thank you. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we can do this again and keep talking about this topic.
Yeah, because I want to get in on that mental health group, that support group. I think that'll be something great that we could do, and be in a few days a week, and just to touch bases with everybody live, to really let them to view us, to see us, to experience us. I think it'll be great.
Let's do it. Well, I hear the music playing, which means we're running out of time, everyone. But certainly we want to thank our special guest, Stacie K. Roach, for joining us. And I want to thank you all for joining us here on the Underground Subway. I take it not for granted one bit that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to listen to this podcast, whether you're listening at work or on your AirPods or on the treadmill at the gym or in the car, wherever you may be. I appreciate your support, and I know without a doubt that something has been said today that will push you forward to live a better life. Well, we're out of time. We've got to go. But listen, before we go, this train is pulling into the station. We are approaching Purpose Boulevard and Destiny Avenue. And you've got to hop off this edition of the Underground Subway, but there's another one coming real soon that you can jump on. Well, before you go, my friends, as we're running out of time, I want to challenge you before you go to bed tonight. Find a mirror. And I want you to look yourself right in the eye before you go to sleep and ask yourself this question. Today, did I do something to work toward my destiny? Did I do something to make this world a better place? Or did I simply waste another day? Think about that. You got no more time to waste. I'm David Austin, host of the Underground Subway. We'll see you next time right here.